Hello there metalheads and welcome to Metal Verbalizer podcast. Today we are going to verbalize another metal band from Italy actually. Just like we talked about in like 2 weeks ago was it? But yeah, they were formed back in 2010 and released their first EP back in 2012. They are called Kalidia, and in 2014 they decided to release their first full-length album called Last Device. They also decided to put out a video of the title track from the album, which did get a lot of traction actually and gained over 900,000 views, which is crazy. And that is something that really is impressive in my opinion, because getting discovered in social media today is really hard. So it proves that they do have a good thing going on and probably did a great job with the marketing for the album and music video. After the album release, they continued to tour Italy and Germany and UK, and together with bands like Ancient Bards and Rhapsody of Fire and Vision Divine, to name some. And Nicoletta Rossellini, which is the front woman of the band. This band is also female fronted, and she also did a lot of guest appearances during this time as well as, and appeared in festivals in Europe like Gods of Metal and Metal Days, to name two. But there were lots of more. And when they started to write material for the next album, they were contacted by Lars Retkovich from Freedom Call, and he was interested in working with the band, and he thought that they were very promising. And since they had somewhat the same ideas for the direction of where the band should be going, they decided to work together. So he ended up in producing and mixing their next album, and responsibility was handed to Achim Köhler when it comes to the mastering process of the record as well. And Achim Köhler is known from Primal Fear and Amon Amarth and Brainstorm. The band is inspired by classic power metal like Rhapsody of Fire and Hammerfall, but also newer bands like Beating Black. And that's kind of cool, since they had some collaborations with Rhapsody of Fire during that time. I think it was like 2014 to 2017. And I think it's very noticeable in their sound that they are inspired by both new and old metal, or power metal. And some of the synthesizers they use are like really classic for the older type of 80s metal and power metal. But the guitars are very modern sounding. It's like that the guitars have more of that massive boogie sound, which is very common in metal today, instead of the classic 80s brown sound. And to explain myself a little bit about what the brown sound is that like Marshall type sound that was used in 80s metal, and you can hear it on like Van Halen is a band that is pretty much the creator of what we call the brown sound. And yeah, now we are going to talk a little bit about the music itself. In 2012, they released an EP called Dance of the Four Winds, with tracks like The Lost Mariner and Reign of Kalidia. It is a 4-track EP, so there are 2 more. And unfortunately, I have not yet listened to this, so I can't really give an honest review of the EP. But continuing on, like we talked about a little bit before, in 2014, they released their first full-length album called Last Device. It is a good album with tracks like The Lost Mariner, for example, which also appeared in the EP, so we get this one in the full-length album as well. And it is the first track of the album, and it has a pretty cool organ intro followed by a build-up of all the instruments with a classic power metal tempo. This is a great track. And then we have Reign of Kalidia, also a really cool track. Here we can hear some synthesized choirs for the first time on this record, at least. And it's awesome. And then, of course, we have Last Device. Great track, and obviously the title track for the record. something that I really like with this track is that they strip it down and go for only synth and vocals and some drums during the verses. And that really puts some more focus on the fantastic vocal performance by Nicoletta Rossellini. And this might be actually the best track on the record, according to me. Like we said before, during the time 2014 to 2017, they focused more on touring, so we had to wait until 2018 when we got 3 singles called Cirque's Spell, Black Sails, and Frozen Throne. And the same year we did obviously get the full-length album as well, called The Frozen Throne. I got to say, Retkovic and Köhler did an absolutely fantastic job in producing and mixing this record. This album has, in my opinion, a big upgrade from Life's Device. And I believe that Retkovic and Köhler was the upgrade they needed to take their band to the next level. Because writing heavy music was something that they already did in the first album. But very important to say, Life's Device is not a bad record. It's a great record. Also, we have to remember that Life's Device was their first full-length album, so you can't supposed to upgrade over the time, right? In this case, Retkovic and Köhler was this band's upgrade. To give some examples of the awesomeness that you will get on the Frozen Throne record, Frozen Throne, we actually begin the album with the title track this time. Frozen Throne is a track that begins very melodic, then you get slapped in the face with some heavy and fast riffing and synths that are melodic and really fast. Then we continue on with Black Sails. Black Sails is a very melodic pirate themes track with some swing tempo, if you know what I mean with that. And swing tempo is something that we have not really heard from Kalidia before this one. And this has a big party feeling to it. And it is most likely my favorite track on this record. It goes straight into my playlist with my favorite metal. And to be fair, I think this might be my favorite song that they have released so far of both albums. But yeah, continuing on, we got Midnight's Chant. This one has a slow piano intro, and then you get some strings on top of the piano, and then some beautiful vocals, obviously. And then we sprinkle some awesomeness on top of it, and you get a great metal ballad. This is also a track that will probably make its way into my playlist of metal. And I think that you really should give the album a listen, because I think that you really might like what you hear. In 2019 we get a single released by the band called Circle of Six. This one keeps the quality and the speed of the previous record, and with some really heavy riffing and harmonizing guitars. And in 2020 they did something really cool in my opinion, because they did a release of their song To the Darkness I Belong from the album Frozen Throne. But instead of heavy guitars and gut-punching drums, they decided to release the song in an orchestral version. And in my opinion, it was a really cool idea, and it proves how melodic and well-written their music is. I love when bands try to reach across the borders of their own genre, because sometimes you really find something really cool when doing that. But yeah, in 2021 they did another great thing, and that was to remake their debut full-length album. So it is exact same songs as the original release, but recorded with and produced with the higher quality, and the same higher quality as the Frozen Throne record. And this proves my earlier statement that it isn't really the songs that was the problem in their debut, or that the songs was bad, and that the upgrade it needed was professional producing. And that can be really hard to achieve as a smaller band, because making an album professionally can be really expensive sometimes if you're gonna rent studio time and hire a producer and all that. And I'm really happy about that Retkovic and Köhler collab with this band, because the band and him has created something really, really good and cool. And I believe that we're going to see great things from this band. So far, we have not seen a new album, a third album, but I guess that's for the future. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens. And it looks like they're gonna do some collaborations with Majestica. And Majestica is fronted by Tommy from Sabaton, if you didn't know that. And that's also a great band that you should check out. And I guess we're gonna have to check on the band's social media to know more information about that. And with that said, that is basically all I have for you for this time. And don't forget to follow them on their social media, because it is a great way for you to get quick updates about what the band has got in store for you. And it is also a great way to help the band to get more traction over social media and more discoverability. Because when you follow, the more followers you get on social media, the higher chance it is for you to get discovered and to get like tips on other accounts. So that is a great way to help the band, really. And if you decide to follow them, it would make me very happy if you could tell them that we sent you over and give you the tips about the band. And if you like what we are doing here on Metal Verbalizers, giving you tips about new awesome metal to listen to, please make sure to give us a follow as well on our socials, because that's how you get notified when we release new episodes and new awesomeness. And we have some plans for the future that you do not want to miss out on. That's all from me. Thanks for listening to Metal Verbalizer podcast. Bye for now. Have a good one.